The auction house on Proxima Station dealt in forgotten things. Rayan scrolled through the listings on his datapad, searching for anything that might give his struggling salvage business the edge it needed. Most humans who'd ventured into the galactic economy found themselves outmatched by species with millennia of spacefaring experience. But Rayan had learned that where others saw junk, he often found opportunity. Lot 847 caught his eye. Abandoned Corinthian workshop. Contents included location, asteroid K771. The starting bid was laughably low. Corinthians were master craftsmen, their tools legendary throughout the galaxy. Even their discarded equipment could fetch a fortune if refurbished properly, within an hour. Rayan owned an entire workshop he'd never seen. The asteroid was a 3-day journey from Proxima. As his small ship, the Perseverance, approached the coordinates, Rayan felt the familiar thrill of discovery. The workshop was built into the asteroid's interior, accessible through a pressurized docking port that miraculously still functioned. The Corinthians had abandoned this place at least 50 years ago, according to the auction records. The airlock cycled. Rayan stepped into darkness, his helmet light cutting through decades of dust. The workshop sprawled before him, a vast cavern filled with workbenches, plasma forges, and tools whose purposes he could only guess at. Everything was sized for Corinthians, beings that stood nearly 3 meters tall with 4 arms designed for intricate work. "This is incredible," Rayan whispered, his voice echoing in the emptiness. He spent the first day cataloging equipment, his excitement building with each discovery. Molecular welders, gravity lathes, crystalline matrices, each piece worth more than his ship. He was so focused on the tools that he almost missed the door. It was seamlessly integrated into the rock wall, marked only by faint Corinthian glyphs. Rayan's translation software struggled with the archaic dialect but eventually produced. Incubation chamber, authorized personnel only. The door opened to his touch, revealing a smaller chamber bathed in soft amber light. 2 enormous eggs rested in suspended cradles, each nearly a meter tall, their shells covered in scales that shimmered like opals. Monitoring equipment surrounded them, still active, drawing power from the asteroid's geothermal core. Rayan's breath caught. These weren't Corinthian eggs. The galaxy had thousands of species, but only one matched this description, a species that existed only in whispered legends and ancient texts. Dragons. The Valdrak Dominion had ruled a third of the galaxy 10,000 years ago, before mysteriously vanishing. Their dragon form and technological prowess had been unmatched. Rayan had read about them during his academy days, back when he dreamed of being an archaeologist instead of a salvager. A holographic display flickered to life, showing biometric data. Rayan's translation software worked frantically. Gestational period, 9,847 years. Current status, 9,846 years, 327 days. Estimated hatching, 38 standard hours. "Oh no," Rayan muttered. No. The eggs were about to hatch, and he had absolutely no idea what to do. The monitoring equipment showed temperature fluctuations, nutrient levels declining. The Corinthian caretakers had probably been hired to watch over these eggs, then abandoned their post when they thought hatching was still decades away. Rayan made a decision that would change his life forever. He couldn't let these creatures die from neglect, possibly the last of their kind. If humanity had taught the galaxy anything, it was that life was precious. Especially when it seemed impossible, he worked through the night, repairing environmental systems, adjusting temperature controls, and frantically researching what little information existed about Valdrak biology. His hands shook as he replaced corroded power couplings, knowing that one mistake could doom the creatures inside. 30-6 hours later, Era arrived. The young xenobiologist had responded to Rayan's desperate message across the Galnet. She was another human, one of the few who'd managed to earn a degree in alien biology, despite the Galactic University's preference for established species. She'd been studying on Proxima Station, researching anything she could about extinct species. "You're serious?" Era asked, staring at the eggs with wide eyes. "Actual Valdrak eggs?" They're hatching soon, Rayan said. I need help. Era was brilliant. Within hours, she'd optimized the incubation parameters, using fragments of Valdrak texts she'd studied and intuition born from years of comparative biology. Dragons aren't so different from Earth's reptiles, she explained, adjusting a thermal regulator. Scaled up and infinitely more complex, but the basics remain. The first crack appeared at hour 30-7. Both humans held their breath as fractures spread across the opalescent shell. A tiny claw emerged, then a snout covered in silver scales. The creature pulled itself free with surprising strength, unfurling wings that glowed with bioluminescent patterns. Hello, little one, Era whispered. Tears streaming down her face, the second dragon emerged minutes later, its scales gold where its siblings were silver. The twins chirped, their voices like crystal bells, and immediately turned toward Rayan and Era with eyes that held ancient intelligence. They're imprinting on us, Era realized. We're their parents now. Rayan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. These weren't just rare creatures, they were the potential rebirth of a civilization. The galaxy's elder species had written off humanity as newcomers barely worth acknowledging. But here, in an abandoned workshop on a forgotten asteroid, two humans had done what 10,000 years of galactic civilization could not. They had brought dragons back to the stars, the silver dragon chirped again, and Rayan could have sworn it sounded like laughter. Perhaps the galaxy was about to learn what humanity did best, succeeding where everyone else had given up. So, Era said, cradling the gold dragon gently, what do we name them? Rayan smiled, watching the silver dragon attempt its first flight. Let's start with figuring out how to feed them. Names can wait. But in his heart, he already knew. This was just the beginning of something extraordinary.